Since my last Flosstube, I have worked on 8 projects, and I would also like to tell you something about a SAL that just started. Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Esther, also known as SpeedyXStitcher, and this is my Flosstube number 49. Since my last Flosstube, I have stitched 4,900 stitches on 8 projects. First, I have stitched on United Kingdom by Stitcher's Lover Shop. I'm stitching it on 18 count vintage marble by Zweigart, and it looks like this. So far I have only stitched with one color. It's a bit boring, but well, I have added 340 stitches since you saw it the last time. I'm looking so much forward to start stitching the Big Ben eventually. I'm using the call for DMC. The next project, I stitched 362 stitches. This is called Bright Sparks. I prefer to call it the London Skyline. It's from a cross stitcher magazine, and it looks like this. And if you saw my last Flosstube, you will know that I will not stitch the fireworks. I will only stitch the skyline. I'm stitching it on 16 or 18 count Grey Ada. It's a scrap from another project, and it looks like this. I have finished the Gherkin and Tower of London, and I actually don't remember what the next project is. Oh yeah, maybe I should warn you that if I seem a bit tired today, you're right, I am, because last night I had an overnight stay at my school with a class, so I'm pretty beat today. But it's Friday, so it's okay. Then all of a sudden I had the urge to stitch on autumn projects. I have absolutely no idea why, but that's just how it was. First of all, I stitched a bit on this hedgehog that I started more than a year ago. I stitched 308 stitches on it, so it's moving along nicely. I also stitched a bit on the squirrel. I stitched 187 stitches. And then I decided to start the last of the 6 projects in this series, and this one is the pumpkin. And so far I did this. I did, where is it? 339 stitches, and they are all stitched on 16 count easy count, and they look like this. And when they are all 6 done, I will make them into small pillows for decoration in autumn. And also here I'm using the call for DMC colors. I had another new start. The Witchy Stitcher in April, she had 3 on Patreon. She released 3 patterns in the series called Relics of the Dark Ages. I did stitch the flail, you saw it last time, And then the second one is something with a bloody hand or so. I didn't feel like stitching that one, but the last one was Iron Maiden, and I decided that I wanted to stitch that one. Since I stitched the flail on 16 count dirty Ada, I decided that Iron Maiden also had to be stitched on it. And this is another witchy stitcher, but as you can see, that's from when I started in the middle of the fabric. Stupid me. So there was enough room for me to start this new project. So this is the Iron Maiden. I have stitched 1007 stitches on it. So hopefully in my next Flosstube it will be done. But you never know. I am a moody stitcher. So anyway, 2 more projects left, and yeah, you do know that these Flosstubes are not that long, but then it's easier for me to actually record them and upload them. I have also stitched on Nora Corbett's Gothic House. As you can see, this is stitched on Star Sapphire Linen in the color of light green. I am going in the complete opposite direction because I'm stitching it on black gray fabric. I'm stitching it on 27 count called, well, I dyed it, so I gave it the name Dimmu which is a place in Iceland that kind of looks like the entrance to hell. And this is the whole piece of fabric, and as you can see, I'm going to have a nice piece left for another project. So far I have only stitched with DMC. I will continue to do so, and I will also stitch with the water lily silks, and when I have stitched all the normal thread I will iron it, and then I will start with the awful lot of metal threads. Kreinik. I do still need to get hold of, I think, 2 of the Kreiniks, but Casa Chenina don't have them at the moment, but I did put them on my wish list so that they will tell me when it's back in stock. But I'm not there yet, so I can, and I do have one of the Kreinik, so I can start. And maybe I will also start the beading. I like the way it looks on this fabric. So all in all, it's just great to stitch this one. You know, it's really funny. I never thought that I was going to stitch Nora Corbett, because the first long time I watched Flosstubes, all I saw by Mirabilia and Nora Corbett were the Fancy Ladies, and yeah, Father Christmas. I do not want to stitch Father Christmas, not that I don't think he's beautiful, but I have seen so many stitches, so no, I'm not going to make that one. I haven't seen anyone stitch this one, nor have I seen anyone stitch my Christmas tree, or what's the name of the last one? Conservatory, where I'm still beading. The last project has been my favorite project in this since my last Flosstube. I stitched 1945 stitches on it. Of course, it's colorful casas, and now it's getting close. I have finished the second column, as you can see, and I also did all the back stitching, and I tell you, there was a lot of backstitching. You can see backstitching here, here, and around the door and the window and here. And I also stitched this part. Actually, I have stitched from up here. So the fence is where I started this part. I think there's about 2,300 stitches left. So now I told myself that around June 1st, I should be able to have this one finished. But I am a moody stitcher, so just because I loved stitching on it in this period, it doesn't necessarily mean that I will also like stitching on it in the next 2 weeks. You never know with me. These were my projects. I have no haul. So the last thing I'm going to tell you a bit about is this new SAL. Maybe you heard about it already. If not, then listen up. Owlforest Embroidery, you might already know them. Every year they put up a SAL, a big one, and it's free. And the first part dropped yesterday, May the 1st, and you can find it on the website. I will link to it in the description box. This SAL is called The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. I like Sherlock Holmes, but I'm not going to start it right away. First of all, because it's not compatible with Pattern Keeper. It should be Saga compatible, but I do not know that app, and I'm very happy with Pattern Keeper, so I'm not going to use any other apps, which means that I will have to rechart it in WinStitch, and that's okay. This SAL, or these SALs by Owlforest Embroidery, very often consist of many parts. And my plan is to keep up to date with converting them into Pattern Keeper compatible patterns. I don't know how often they will drop a new part. I just have to find out. So I think this weekend I'm going to rechart the first part. I'll put up a picture here so you can see. I think this must be Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. So I'm very curious what the next parts will look like. So anyway, this is a free SAL. And as I said, I'm not going to take part in it yet. First of all, because I do want to know what I'm going to stitch. Maybe I only like this first part, and then I will only stitch that one. Maybe I will only like 2, 3, or 4 of all the parts. Then I will probably stitch them as separate projects. Or maybe I like it a lot, so I decide that I want to stitch all of it. So let me know. Are you going to join this SAL? Well, that was it for today. This was a very short one. But anyway, I still hope you enjoyed watching my projects and my progress. And I hope to see you again next time, which is going to be episode Flosstube number 50. Take care, and may your threads always run smoothly.